Alright, so we're going to be playing Endless Legend 2. The demo is now out on Steam. This is the latest game from Amplitude Studios, makers of the Endless series of games and most recently Humankind. I've been playing the Insiders. Branch as a part of the Insiders program. I won't spoil anything because I don't want to lose my access to it, but I have a decent understanding of the game thus far, and it has taken a lot of lessons learned from Humankind, good and bad, improved on that. It's also taken a lot of things that we're familiar with from the Endless games, even up to like Endless Space 1 and 2 has a lot of influences on this game as well. I feel like it's just a good culmination of everything that Amplitude Studios has learned thus far. So in the demo, you have access to two factions, Aspects and the Kin of Sheridan. Starting with the Kin of Sheridan, they're more like your standard defensive faction, more about fortifying, more like a turtle strategy. A lot of their abilities and best mechanics are based around your fortification score. So, it's kind of build as the defender class, or the defender faction. And the Aspects are more of like the diplomats, some unique abilities in terms of diplomacy. They have certain unique abilities when it comes to assimilating minor factions, which are factions that are on the map. Think about like city-states and civilization. That's basically what minor factions are in this game. And they have a coral network ability, which is unique to them as well, where they kind of grow coral spores and that kind of spreads across the map and gives them different bonuses, whether they're allied with other factions or whether they're just kind of playing like a isolationist style of game. So if you're familiar with these types of games, the Aspects are probably going to be more interesting. If you want to kind of learn and get your feet wet, you probably want the Kin of Sheridan. I'm going to go with the Aspects. And in terms of factions, these are the factions that you can play against from the AI perspective. As well, you have some basic options at the moment. I've had it on Stellar just because I'm familiar with the Insiders branch. I'm going to go down to Hero, which is down by 1. I'm going to start the game out. I'm going to play a few turns. I'm going to see if I can get to the first tide fall and maybe play a little bit after that, just to kind of give you an idea of what you can expect. But what makes this game unique in relation to the other Endless games is kind of the setting. We're on a planet that's covered by water, very few land masses around, right? So when the game starts, you're going to have your own section of the map. It's going to be kind of cut off by the sea, by the higher water levels, so you won't really be able to see any other factions. You'll have a chance to establish yourself in your own little part of the world. But after a few turns, a monsoon occurs. A monsoon in this game being a state of heavy rainfall, heavy rainfall across the entire planet. Different gameplay mechanics change, certain things come online, whether it's faction specific or overall. And then once that ends, you end up in something called a tidefall, which is when the waters recede. More of the land masses are kind of uncovered, and you're able to kind of spread out a little more. So unlike most 4X games, I feel like that whole process kind of does something that a lot of these games struggle with, which is early game expansion. In a lot of games, the faster you can expand, the better you do. That acts as a natural cutoff point that kind of limits what you can do in terms of expansion. You only have so many territories, so you have to work with what you have. Yeah, but in 4X Standard, it's a top-down view. You have different armies. You can stack units together to create army stacks, of course, if you're familiar with that. And then each one has a different set of movement depending on the unit, depending on abilities. In terms of the Aspects, they have an archer unit, a ranged unit to start, and everyone has a scout unit, basically. So you start with 2 units plus a hero, which is a unique unit, which has its own set of abilities. It can equip items, if I can find that, for example. They have their own story, their own biography. They have their own unique things to them. You can give them equipment. You can find equipment over the course of the game. You can earn it as faction rewards and things like that. And then, of course, they have different skills. They have faction-specific skills. They have class-specific skills. They have like a hybrid skill tree. So this is an aspect archer. So there are specific skills that only they can learn. And it kind of streamlines it from the Endless Legend 1 way of doing things. If you remember that game, building up skills could be a mess. It could be really, really clunky. Equipment and stuff could get really, really complicated. So I really like how they've streamlined that. You also have a settlement bonus, or like a delayed settlement bonus. Every turn that you spend before you settle your capital, you get a little bonus, so you don't have to rush to settle immediately. If you don't like any of the land in your starting area, you can kind of search around and look for better areas, which is really nice as well. I'm going to go ahead and settle my capital just to keep it simple. Of course, like most Forex games, you have various yields depending on the land. In this game, you have food, industry, dust, which is the gold equivalent, and you have science and influence. So I believe I believe the terminology for it is FIDS, FIDS. And there you have it up there. Every city has a certain amount based on the land tiles that they own, as well as the population. And in this game, similar to Endless Space, you can actually move population around. So you have different types of population based on minor factions that you've assimilated, based on different abilities of the faction that you play. You can move them into the various slots to get different bonuses. So, for example, I can make him an artisan, and I can get more industry and more dust, or I can make him a citizen. I can get more food and more dust. It really depends on what you want to do. I'm going to go artisan to start, and then of course you have different things that you can build. Every city can build improvements on the primary tile, and then you can also build districts, which is pretty similar to most of the bigger Forex games at this point, I think, like Civ 6, Civ 7, Endless Legend had this, Humankind had this, the idea of building districts. So different districts will do different things depending on the adjacencies, right? So for example, if I was going to build a farm over here by the river, I could get a bunch of bonuses based on the tile it's built on, the adjacency to river, the adjacency to other districts and things like that. Pretty standard stuff. So I'll go with that just because I want more population. I can kind of set them accordingly. You also have the research tree. This has also been streamlined from Endless Legend 1, where we used to have the wheel, if you remember that. And every era or every stage of the research tree had its own wheel. Now you have more of like a diamond where you have the different areas. You have economy, you have society, you have defense, and you have discovery. So you have different texts in those different areas, and of course, as you unlock different parts of the tree, you have different options there as well. You have some unique options based on the faction. You have some options that persist or rather exist for everyone, for every faction, regardless of who you play. And then of course different factions have their own starting texts that automatically come unlocked. So they have like fencing, which gives you farms. They have Voice of the Masses, which gives you the ability to build a forum, which gives you more influence when you've built it. Another type of district. And they have a unique ability called aestheticism. I probably pronounced that incorrectly, where it gives you something unique to them. So they get one more protectorate slot, which is for minor factions, and extra defense on units when defending. I'm probably going to go with that, and I'm going to go ahead and start exploring. In this game, you have various minor factions across the map. Normally what you want to do is you want to parlay with some, and you'll get a minor faction quest, and once you've completed the quest, you would have assimilated them. Once you've assimilated the minor factions, you can then add them to a protectorate slot, and they'll become a part of your empire, basically. So if I was to assimilate these guys, I would get 2 extra units because there's 2 villages in the territory, and then I'd be able to build these as military units. They give me a specific type of citizen, which would have its own benefits, plus two influence at peace. And I'd also get access to, let's see, a hero, a counselor here, a counselor, right? Which would give me different bonuses once they're actually set up. So different minor factions have their own pros and cons. Depending on your playstyle, you may want to go for a certain minor faction versus others. That's pretty standard. And then you get different quests. For this quest, we need to defend the region for 5 turns, basically keep enemy armies out of the region, which is pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and explore and get some of these goodies on the map as well. It's pretty early game, so there's not really anything crazy going on. Let's see. And now as I finish currency, I might go for... I might go for workshop, or I could go for scientific charter. I'll probably go for scientific charter just because I have anomalies here, and anomalies give your laboratories bonuses to science. You know, anomalies are basically super towels. They give you a bigger yield than a standard towel. So for example, this is a stunted corpse, which gives me extra dust and production. They should have another one somewhere here. They're all over the map. Yeah, like here's another one. The Dayan boards, which give me extra food. You know, all sorts of good stuff on there. I'm gonna go ahead and continue exploring. What I'm doing right now is I'm kind of picking up these things on the map. I'm also looking towards getting my first faction quest, which will give me some objectives to complete. Right now I'm really just kind of looking around, see what's going on. Trying to find, looking at the territory that I have available and things like that. Now when it comes to the aspects, they're unique in the sense that before they can actually create a new city or create a new camp, they have to put down what's called a coral spore. And that starts generating coral, which is unique to them. You know, it can kind of spread across the map. It can automatically assimilate minor factions, so you don't have to complete the quest or parley them or fight them and then rebuild their camp. And they kind of give you different bonuses based on whether they're in your territory. They give you bonuses during exploration, during combat. Their game plan is really to get as many coral spores out as possible, whether it's in your own territory, whether it's in like enemy territory, allied territory. You want to put down as many as possible. But I was waiting because I wanted to get my first faction quest. I'm not going to read it out because it's going to take way too long, but basically every faction has a set of faction quests that gives them different things to complete based on their special abilities. So in my case, this is my first quest. They want me to build 2 coral spores. And then once I finish that, I'll get plus 10 approval on all cities for on Reefborn, which is my main city, for 10 turns. And approval matters because in this game we have Empire approval, similar to Endless Legend 1. Depending on where you are on the track, you get bonuses or you might get penalties. This game does have a city cap similar to Humankind, but it's a soft cap because you can go over it. But every time you go over it, it impacts your Empire approval. So I could do like 6 cities and my cap is 3. I'd probably drop all the way down into like the negative, and then you'd see I start getting like penalties to influence, dust, science. You know, it basically fall down to this. You know, a lot of different stuff. Rebellions, cities can go into rebellions and stuff. So normally you want to at least keep cities content. If you can get them happy, that's great. If you can get them jubilant, that's even better. So there's a nice little balance there in terms of approval. Basically happiness in other games. I feel like most games don't do happiness very well. It's normally really easy to manage, or it's not really intuitive at all. So I think the Endless games have always done well with it in terms of being able to make it meaningful, you know? I'm gonna go ahead and set a coral spore here. I'm gonna go ahead and set another coral spore, I don't know, let's see. Maybe over here. And again, they're unique because you cannot establish a camp until you have coral spore set. That's kind of a necessity, right? I met my other brother there, my other aspect player. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I like diplomacy in this game because you have kind of shows you public opinion, how you feel about them, how they feel about you, and that impacts the way you can set up declarations and things like that. If you have more of a positive view of the other faction, you know, positive declarations cost less. You know, if you have a more negative view, then negative declarations cost less and stuff like that. There's a little bit of ebb and flow when it comes to diplomacy as well. Went ahead and finished that. Got my reward. And then I'll get the next faction quest in the line there, which is to build 3 foundations. Foundations in this game are basically the towels. Buying towels, if you're familiar with like Civilization. You know, every tile that you can build on is a foundation. So basically every tile that your city owns is a foundation. Also finish this quest here, this minor faction quest. You get different types of rewards depending on the quest. I believe they're randomized, so it's not like this will always give me minus 20% influence cost for founding camps, which is pretty good early. But it also pacifies all of the villages here as well, which is important because if it's an aggressive village or like a militaristic village, they'll actually spawn they'll spawn, what do you call it, units that can attack you. So you need to be aware of that as well. Sometimes for the aggressive minor factions, you want to pacify them as quickly as possible. Other times you might want to farm them for like dust or something, depending on your playstyle. And then certain minor factions are obviously harder to deal with when it comes to combat than others as well. So you got to kind of balance all of that too. You can also buy out districts, buy out units, buy out improvements as per usual. I went ahead and did that to get the farm quickly so I can get more food. More food will give me, you know, fast population more quickly, which is going to be useful across the board. Go ahead and end turn. Okay, we got some science. Let's see, we got some dust. We should be able to do a camp now. I'm gonna go ahead and do a camp. Let's see. Let's do it here. We're gonna go ahead and evolve the coral spores. And you know, again, unique to them, they need to have coral spores in place before they can set a camp. Most other factions can just set the camp using influence, but coral spores down. I'm gonna evolve it. Now it turns into a camp. And of course, similar to humankind, you can attach cities to existing territories, or you can evolve them. You can attach camps to existing cities, or you can evolve them into their own city. At an influence cost, this kind of scales as you have more cities and more camps. And unlike humankind, which I actually like a lot, is the fact that you have a limit on the number of camps that you can attach to a city. And you can kind of increase that based on technologies, infrastructure, and things like that. But you can't get into a situation where you have like an early game city and you have like 3 territories attached to it, which is really where the game kind of fell off for me in humankind, because I feel like that's where the imbalance really comes about. When you're able to attach as many territories as you want, that's really when the snowballing gets out of hand for me. So I feel like, again, lesson learned from humankind to deal with that issue. I feel like it was a pretty major issue in that game as well, but I think they sorted it out, which is always nice. All right, here we go. We have a pacifist style of minor faction. They spawned an army, so if I wanted to fight them, I could, but they won't attack me. But I mean, I don't really need to deal with it. I'll just go ahead and try to parlay with them. I'm not going to read it because we're trying to keep this quick. And of course, different objectives and different rewards based on the minor faction quest. I'll get 100 influence, you know, and I'll pacify all of these villages in the region. I'm going to go ahead and begin it because it's pretty easy. Also need to get 3 foundations. At the moment, that's pretty tough if we're being honest, because foundation cost about 55 a pop. Let's see, let me see the coral. If I build on top of coral, I actually pay less influence for foundations. That's one of the benefits of having coral, a lot of coral tiles as aspects. Let's see, I don't have enough though, I need more. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe look around a little more. Now what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to get the coral to spread over here and take up these minor faction units. Once that happens, I'll be able to pacify them for free. And then I'll be able to, well, they're already pacified, so I can assimilate them for free because on the aspects, normally there's a cost here, so it's like 150 to start, and then it scales as you get more and more protectorates implemented. But the aspects have a unique ability where they get to assimilate for free. So I'm just going to go ahead and assimilate. I get that bonus plus 5 influence income per pacified villages. Go ahead and take that. And you're going to see I'm going to get that bonus, plus I'm going to get 2 other populations, which are now this specific type of unit, which is with its own bonuses. And I just get that for free, right? Very similar to Endless Legend, where you get like additional populations when you pacify the different minor faction villages. But this also learns from Endless Space 2, because you have different types of populations with their own bonuses. And then you're also able to change which type of pop you grow. So if I wanted to do like an aspect, I could do that, or I could change it to this minor faction unit depending on what I want. And that matters because, again, similar to Endless Space, you have different population bonuses based on the number of citizens you have of a certain type. So you have different tiers of it. You have tier 1, 2, 3. When you hit it, you get different things that you can unlock. Sometimes your population becomes more powerful. So there's a real it's really useful to kind of diversify your population, your citizenry from that perspective. For now, I'm just going to focus on the aspect so I can do aesthetic existence. And then eventually I'll come down to them so I can do the playhouse, right? Yeah, but it's pretty interesting for sure. I'm going to go ahead and continue. And then of course, where is it? We have this coral timer up here. Every X number of turns, the coral tiles in your empire will grow. So they'll basically spread out. The pink tiles right here. So in the next 5 turns, the coral in my empire will spread, and that will kind of continue throughout the game. So it's pretty much a passive spread. So again, their whole game plan is to get as many coral spores down and fill as much of the map with coral, because they get a lot of bonuses from having it out in their own territory, in neutral territory, and in allied territory. You know, it's pretty much their entire game plan. Let's see, I'm not going to be able to build those foundations for now. Let me see where I'm going here. And you can also see I'm pretty landlocked to start because there's water all around me, so there's not a whole lot I can do. Let's see if I can go ahead and get down there. Go ahead and move everybody up. Let's see if I want to buy him out. I could. I might actually buy him out early. Envoy Swarm. I can go ahead and buy him out, why not? I'm going to go ahead and make the improvement Sanctity of Nature, which gives me all of those yields. It's basically like the monument for your first city, if you've played most of these games. I'm also going to make an update to my population. I'm going to move him from scribes to artisans. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm also going to move him from here to here, or, well, him from here to here, because I'll get +1 influence based on his ability. You'll kind of see it. That's going to be 4, I believe. Or are they just 1? Meh, well, that's fine. I can't math. That way I have food and dust and production and dust, and they're kind of giving me influence on their own as citizen types. I'm going to go ahead and let's see, where are you? I'm going to put them together. I'm actually going to start fighting, see if I can get him leveled up. And I'm waiting for this to get to 100 so I can just take that on to the city and attach it, right? Attach it to the city. Let's see what's going on here. Get down there. I might actually do this now that I think about it. Where are you? Now the thing about coral is that it kind of spreads in a unique way. Most of the time it's just like 1 tile over. But if it's next to a water source, it will spread more quickly. And if it's close to like a minor faction camp, it will kind of spread towards those. So it spreads more quickly over water, and it tends to prioritize minor faction camps when it's actually spreading out. So you can see I have 2 over here, and I don't have as many over here. It's because there's a river there, right? That's the idea behind that. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. It also makes it cheaper to buy foundations. You know, I'm buying on a coral tile. I'm going to buy that, and I'm going to buy, let's see. What else? How we doing? I'm going to go ahead and buy another one, maybe. Let's buy that, just to finish the quest. We need to do 1 more. I'm going to go ahead and fight these guys so I can try to level him up. Heroes do level up. I'm also going to go ahead and try to get over here, building a bridge, temporary bridge to get over the river. How we doing? I'm going to send him over here, grab that, extra science, which is pushing me further along this asceticism. I'm also going to get up here, and I'm probably going to go ahead and fight now, move him forward over there. In this game, similar to Endless Legend 1, you can have reinforcing armies. I think Humankind did this as well. But they kind of, they nerf this a little bit, which I like, because I like any game mechanic that forces you to make choices as opposed to giving you everything. In this game, you can have at most 1 reinforcement per battle, so you'll never have a situation where you have like 20 plus guys on the map, or like in Humankind, you can have like 2 armies start, and then another 2 or 3 armies come in, and you have this map bloated with units. You know what I mean? It's always going to be very specific, very contained, and you can kind of swap through different reinforcements if they're in range, but you can only come in with one. So at most you'll have like maybe 10, 12 units on the map at any given time, which makes things easier to deal with, kind of reduces power a little more, especially since this game isn't turn by turn, isn't round by round. It's pretty much one side goes and the other side goes. So you can't have like one side do a ton of damage before the other side can even respond, you know? And then similar to Endless Legend 1, two armies collide, then they kind of break out into their own battle map based on the surrounding territory. And then you can do instant resolution, which will give you a predetermined result, or it will give you a calculated result based on the strength of the various armies. It will kind of spread damage around based on what it thinks, you know, what the calculation gives you. You can retreat. Attack will be canceled if you're the attacker. If you're the defender, you'll be able to get away, but you'll lose 50% of your health on every unit. And when you actually get into manual battle, you'll actually get to play it out. What I like about this is that you can shift the auto if you're getting tired of it, or you can do fast. You can toggle fast animation, slow animation as well. But I tend to play on slow just because I like looking at the animation, but if you wanted to speed through it, you could do that as well. And the aspects, you know, every unit has its own special ability. In this game, height matters. You have height advantage, so if you're attacking from high ground, you get a bonus to damage. Things like fighting from a forest matter. They give you cover against ranged attacks and a bunch of other different things, right? And then for the aspects, their starting units are more about range, and you're setting up kind of walls with the sentries. So the different walls have the sentries have their own abilities. They have defense expert. You know, they get extra defense when they actually defend. They have destabilizing defense, which applies vulnerable to adjacent enemy units when you defend, which reduces their defense. So they're more about building walls and then attacking. And then attacking with your ranged units. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back. I'm going to force them to come to me. Let's see, he goes 3. And then of course you have different pros and cons, different like rock, paper, scissors styles of play with the different units. You have swarm units, which are effective against juggernauts. You have infantry units, which are effective against ranged. You have ranged units, which are effective against flying units. And then the juggernauts are effective against infantry units. So kind of like a revolving door there in terms of what's the word? In terms of bonuses against the enemy that you fight. So all of that stuff matters as well. The aspects also have a special ability called Harmonious Tactics. When a friendly unit defends, every other unit gets plus 10% to their damage until the round ends. So again, they're very focused on defending and then support with the ranged units. So I'm going to be defending with the sentries, and I'm going to be attacking with the ranged units. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I think I'll leave him there, force him to walk around. I'm going to go ahead and defend with him. Because that's going to hit him with the stabilizing defense, so his damage goes down. His defense goes down, harmonious tactics, so it goes up for the rest of us. Unfortunately, he isn't in the forest, so it's going to be a little bit of an issue. Let's see what I can do. 1, 2, 3. I could fall back here. Might be a good idea. Heroes also have their own abilities as well. You know, something you get if you level them up. So if I wanted to use like scope shot, that would do 48 damage no matter what. If I could do that. Or I could just kind of shoot and deal with the damage calculations down there. Forest cover, vulnerable, all that stuff. So I'll probably just shoot them with a scope shot. Active ability. I'm going to see if I can get some more damage there. Let's see. There we go. Critical hit is always nice. I'm going to go ahead and hit with you. He's a swarm, effective against juggernauts. Let's see. They're going to move forward though. Yep. They're going to move forward as well. Alright, we're going to go ahead and do defend again. Destabilizing defense. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up now. I would say that, it's pretty basic. Combat's pretty basic on the surface, but I think if you get further along into the game, it becomes more and more interesting. You know, things like having line of sight to do maximum damage and, you know, height advantage and all those different things are pretty neat. And then the whole rock, paper, scissors style style of engagement with like juggernauts and flying units and all of that. It's pretty cool. Go ahead and finish that up. Okay, gonna go ahead and defend with you. Gonna go ahead and move you forward, because there is a range limitation for shooting in this game. You know, different units have different ranges. And that should almost be it. You go ahead and end him. Yeah. So by completing that battle, it allowed my hero to level up, which allowed me to finish the minor faction quest and also gave me influence. And then once you go to the hero screen, you'll see the skill tree. You can use your hero points for various things. You have your different parts of the tree. You also have different attributes which power up different abilities. So for example, resilience gives the bonus to those abilities. Intuition gives the bonus to those abilities. Determination gives the bonus to those abilities. So you're also kind of encouraged to spec in a sense. To kind of make different types of heroes. You know, you can do different builds depending on what you want to do, the different armies that you have and whatnot. Now in this case, I'm probably going to spec into determination. I'm probably going to go more support. So I'll probably go for like recovery shot. And let's see, maybe I'll go for second wind. Now we'll go for recovery shot first. And let's see, what else do we want to do? We also have that. Maybe we'll go that and terrain logistics. Why not? Well, we do have that. Maybe we'll go for that just for some extra damage. And then okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the city, which allows me to use all the foundations here as well. And let's see, and since now that's attached to the city, I should be able to build another foundation. Let me see, where can I do it? I need to build a district before I can build a foundation, huh? Okay. That's all right, let's do a laboratory there. Let's go ahead and buy out, which one? Go ahead and buy out that. Can't do it yet, huh? Okay, that's fine. Alright, again, coral spread. So I could actually buy this out for less. Like right here, it'd be 33. And then that will finish that other quest. And that will give me a free unit, an envoy. And then that will continue the faction quest line as well. And then of course, again, most of these faction quests kind of push you along the line of play, the play style that you want for the various factions. So you can see that the aspects are about setting down coral, you know, foundations, building up your home bases. So they're kind of more of a tall play style, and then pacifying villages as opposed to like you know, warmongering. So you're gonna see a lot of faction quests that are more focused along what your faction can actually do. And that kind of pushes you towards different styles of play to kind of take advantage of those abilities, right? Like the Kin of Sheridan, very different than the Necrophages, very different than the aspects. I'm gonna go ahead and heal, I believe. I might actually set some more coral right here. I'm gonna set it right here because when coral hits a village, it automatically pacifies it, even though this has already been pacified, right? So I'm not really doing a good job of showing it off. I'm just so used to doing the quest because the quest give you bonuses, and then pacifying via coral does not. Or rather, the quest gives you rewards, and coral pacification doesn't. So I'm just so used to it. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward here. I'm gonna make another city up here in a minute. If that makes sense. I'm gonna go ahead and spread these guys out because Tidefall is coming. Coming very soon. It might be coming next turn. Called it. Or not Tidefall, Monsoon. So it's a special stage of the game where like rainfall occurs, heavy rainfall. it impacts the map in various ways. You'll have more bonuses, more goodies on the map that you can pick up via exploration. Every army that's currently on the map, NPC army, will become hostile. Every minor faction will become hostile. And the bonuses for the rewards for completing combat increase. So you're kind of encouraged to explore more often. You're encouraged to get into more combat, and you're encouraged to kind of utilize those different abilities that certain factions may have that are based on monsoons. You also get the council unlocked for free. So normally you'd have to like spend dust to unlock this, but on your first monsoon, you can kind of fill in council seats. You can choose different units, and they have different bonuses based on their type, really. So for example, he gives you plus 10 influence per protectorate. He gives you minus 30 influence cost on foundation, which would have been good for that last quest, right? You know, plus 1 movement point's pretty good for the current situation with the rainfall or the monsoon. And then he also gives you, let's see, he gives you plus 100% gains on battle spoil. So basically when you win combat encounters. So they would both be really good for the time right now, but I'm not really fighting, so I'm not going to focus on him. I'm going to go for him, just to kind of try to build up that influence early. Gonna apply the changes. I'm also probably gonna split my army up so they can get more exploring done, because now you see there are a lot of goodies on the field, a lot of rewards that you can get. So I'm probably gonna split up this army into 2. Gonna split him into his own army. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, he's in his own army, and he's also in his own army. Now these 2 guys are going to spread out and go collect these goodies on the map, right? I also like the buyer unit. Like I'll do like, let's see, I could do a flying unit, flying ranged unit, I could do a swarm unit. Every unit has upkeep, of course. I'm probably just going to do, let's see, probably him. I can't afford him. I could do another swarm unit. 200, sure. And then the way it works out is that they end up paying for themselves over time. I'm able to cross the river because Coral acts as a bridge, so I don't even need a bridge. And I'll need like, what, 4 of those to pay for him, which isn't terrible. Yeah, but it's about exploration. A lot of the time you want to prepare for the monsoon. You want to have a lot of units out so you can start exploring the map and collecting as many of these as possible, because they go away once the monsoon stops. You want to be looking for combat opportunities to get as many spoils as possible. It's just a lot of preparation, really. And I like it a lot because in a lot of these games, sometimes you'll have like a large military that never really fights and stuff like that. So there are points in the game where, regardless of what the other players are doing, it pays to have like a lot of units on the field and to kind of prep for situations like this. It's not just about warmongering or defending yourself. It's also about dealing with the state of the map, right? So I like that a lot. Let's see. Now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and put them back together. Probably put all these guys together. You can see you have other military slots. You can have up to 6. You unlock them as you go through the tech tree. So I believe the next part of the tech tree will give me another +1. And then I can have up to 5 units in an army. You know, I get a free hero and all those other good stuff, all that other good stuff. Let's see, let's put them together. And I'm gonna start looking for fights, because sometimes you can encounter special units that only come out during a monsoon, and they're a lot harder to defeat, but they give you a lot of rewards, really good rewards. But again, I'm kind of landlocked, right? I can see my other guys down here kind of doing their thing. I can't really reach them yet. I'm gonna go ahead and evolve that into a camp. Get that out of the way, and then let's see if I can attach it, if I can evolve it to a city. Maybe. Not looking like it. Hold on. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. There's also one up there. Okay, let's see. And also what I like about the monsoon period is it kind of uncovers some of what the land's gonna look like once the tidefall occurs. So you can see there's titanium over here, there's a resource over here. So I probably want to get ready to colonize that area. Let's see what else I can see. It's really just titanium. But really the monsoon's about prepping to take advantage of the map and also preparing for the tidefall afterwards, when more of the map gets uncovered. So I definitely want to take possession of this area here, for example. Meanwhile, the coral spreads, which is good for me. Go ahead and grab that. Now I have a lot of dust, which I'm probably going to use to spread my coral more so than anything else. Let's see, improvements over here. I now have aesthetic existence, because I have at least 3 population, three aspect citizens, so I can go ahead and build that, which will give me more food, or will give me more slots for my population. I'm actually going to go ahead and buy this out, just to speed that up. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these guys, just to get that bonus there. Also getting some, you also get like random storyline quests based on the situation. Like sometimes you'll find them on the map, like you pick up a curiosity on the map and it will start a quest. Sometimes it will be based on the condition of the map. Like currently we're in a monsoon, so I get special quests for that. For example, you see kind of the rainwater is causing an issue to the settlements as a whole, so we have some choices we can make. You can make various choices. For example, I can make this choice, which will cost me industry, what will give me more food. I can make this choice, which will cost me dust, but will give me better approval. Or I can choose this one, which is just losing a little bit of food. So I'm going to go with this one just because I like to have a lot of populations. You know, populations have various bonuses. In my case, they're giving me a lot of influence. And I can always put them in the artisan slot and make up for that production loss, right? Let's see what else we're doing. I want to make this a city, but I have to wait. I just have to wait. Also technology. I have one more that I can do before I pick up the uncover the next part of the tree, I suppose. I don't know if I want civil order. Approval is always good to have, so maybe. Especially since pop tends to drain your approval per city. So for example, if you take a look at this, citizens cost you pop -3 approval per citizen, -3 per artisan. So if you have cities that are really tall, it can be really easy for your approval to just plummet if you don't deal with it. So in this case, I think it makes more sense to go for, I could go for either one though. Like having keeps gives you approval every time you build them, if I'm not mistaken. No, they don't, okay. Thinking about humankind. So in this case, I probably want to go Traveler's Shrine plus 15 approval if I'm going to have very tall cities. I'm going to go for that. Here goes another pop. And now I have 3 here as well, so I can do the Playhouse, which is going to give me plus 10 influence at peace and plus 1 grab slot on Forum District, right? So I'm going to go ahead and build that improvement. I'm actually going to see if I can buy that out. It's pretty expensive, of course, but we'll see. Let's see. All right, doing all right. I'm probably just going to wait for the tidefall to occur now. Yeah, we're just going to wait for the tidefall. Should be coming soon. Get ready for it. And I'll probably go over here with him, just to see what's going on. No tidefall yet? Wow. Okay. Huh. It's interesting. Still no? What? Okay, I see. Because we're sharing our map, so I can see what he's doing. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. Evolve into a city. I'm going to go ahead and assimilate that for free as a result, because again, they can assimilate for free, which is really good. They basically grab all the minor factions and they don't have to spend a bunch of influence to do it. Also a really good way to get cities online quickly, because when you assimilate, you get the you get a citizen for every village that's in the territory, right? So I immediately get 3, and these guys are actually pretty good because they give you +3 approval. So basically, I would say they cancel out the malice of artisans and citizens when they're in that spot, which is really solid. Also gonna see if I already qualify for their tier 1 bonus. I do, because I have 3 villages, so I can grab that if I wanted it. That could be my first improvement. I'm probably gonna go with that, because I like food. Food is good. Let's see. Let's see what else we're gonna do. Probably get some foundations, right? Why not? That's an anomaly. You know, river source, extra food. Let's see what else we're gonna grab. And you know what I should do? I should actually focus on leveling up my district. When one district is surrounded by 4 others, it becomes a tier 2 district, which basically just gives you more bonuses. So a lot of the time when you're building districts, you want to focus on building around key districts. So for example, City Hall, if I can build another 3 districts around here, or 2 districts rather, it will be a level 4 City Hall. That might be a good idea as well. Let's see. Maybe that. And then maybe I could do food again. This game also scales the cost of districts based on what you've built before. So if I built another farm, it would be more expensive versus something like a works building that I haven't built yet, or a merchant's house, which I haven't built yet. So I'll probably do merchant's house. Probably do something like that. And then probably just buy it out, honestly. Use my dust. Surprised that Tidefall hasn't occurred yet. I might just skip the turn here. Alright, sure. And they want me to build something here, huh? Alright, let's see. Let's do works. Like, that's not a whole lot, but it's better than nothing, right? Let's do a works building, sure. Okay, there we go, Tidefall. That took forever. So basically, Tidefall is that point in the game where the monsoon is ended, and then the waters recede to show more of the land, more of the map, right? So now you'll be able to access other portions of the map instead of being locked to whatever's available, or at least what was available at the last during the last game period, pre-monsoon, right? The waters fall, kind of see it happening in the animation there, which is pretty neat because I like the idea of the map changing, because this mechanic solves a lot of problems that 4X games tend to have. They tend to be about going wide as quickly as possible, you know, gobbling up all the territories, painting it your color, and then snowballing from there. But until the tidefalls occur, you really can't do that. You know, you're kind of stuck where you are. You're stuck with a certain map, and then the map kind of updates as time goes on, right? Well, I like that a lot. You know, for example, I kind of took all the territories in my starting area already, and then I couldn't really do anything else until the rest of the map was uncovered. So now I can actually go to other aspects of the map, other areas of the map. I can kind of go over here. I was eyeballing that titanium. I can go ahead and set up a coral spore over there to try and take over it, you know, different things like that. It's just a neat solution to a problem that just about every 4X game seems to have. I really like it a lot. You also have like a storyline quest based on the state of the game. You have different quests that occur as well. So for example, if I go to the very beginning, you know, I have a quest here that's based on the fact that the tidefall occurred, and I can see new ruins on the map, new things on the map. There's that. Then you have different things that you can do based on how you feel, right? I could say I could assist them in this quest. I could gather, and I would trigger a battle, or I could extort and, you know, get some titanium, but also trigger a battle. I'm going to take the pacifist route because I'm playing the aspects, because why not? I'm not going to read any of that because it's just going to make things take way too long, right? And again, I have more quests here. Let's see, you also have quests that occur when you see, like, when you pick up like natural wonders or unique features of the world. For example, I think I saw like a special tree or something a while ago. If I can find it again. I saw it somewhere, it came up. So I saw that, and then I get a special quest that's kind of asking me how I want to deal with the discovery, right? So it can get kind of complicated. I'm trying to explain it as best as I can, but it's really tough sometimes. Let's see. I'm probably going to go for blood, sweat, and tears, because obviously industry is a big problem right now on Reefborn. Or rather, branches right here. Give me some more industry. Yeah, there it is. That's a unique feature, the swaying tree of Saeda. Right? And of course it has specific bonuses, like most other natural wonders, if you played like Civ or Humankind or something else like that. Natural wonders, build a city there, gain control of it, gain various bonuses based on the wonder, right? So obviously you wanna kind of focus on those areas as well. And then since I'm in a new technological era, I just went to the Years of Toil. I get a hero draft. I get to choose a hero based on that. Generally, the heroes that come up in the draft are based on your starting faction and based on your any minor factions you've assimilated, which is why I have him and I have these two guys. And they all have their different types. You know, they're warriors, they're range type. They all have their different counselor abilities. You know, all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd probably go for... Thinking about it. Probably go for him, honestly. Velvet Glove is actually pretty solid. I could also use a warrior, couldn't I? I'm thinking about it. Firebrand. Let me take a look. Let me see what I have. I didn't go stonework, though I don't want him. I'm gonna go for him. No upkeep because they're a drafted hero. You can also buy heroes via the Mercenaries tab. Once you have a trading post, every hero there has an upkeep. So similar to Endless Legend 1, if you remember the marketplace where you could buy like heroes and units, you can do something similar here as well. Let's see, let's go ahead and give him the boot. Of course, he has his own abilities based on his unit type and his faction. And then he has a hybrid. Pretty neat. We'll probably go with he's resilience. Let's see what we're gonna do. We could go for that. Nature of the beast. Not bad. +6. Yeah, that's the only thing he gets to spend resilience on though. So I'll go for that. Yeah, and I'll probably end it here just because I feel like it's going long enough. Yeah, that's a demo. Just kind of going through the first monsoon, the first tidefall, and then you're basically kind of continuing that, you know, you're kind of going through the tech tree, you're picking technologies based on your game style, your faction, you know, what the map gives you. You know, you have different technologies here, upgrades, and all this other stuff. So for them, they're going to be diplomacy focused. And then of course you settle the map based on what's been given to you. And then eventually you'll play for a victory, right? Let's see. In the demo, it looks like all the victories have been disabled, and it looks like you only have so many turns. It looks like you have about, about 99 turns, 98 turns in the demo. But yeah, try it out. You know, again, I think it's going to be the big 4X game of the year. Just because I haven't seen any other really good 4X games. Like Civ 7's floundering right now. And I haven't really heard of anything else that's been on the horizon. You know, it's a great entry to the Endless series in general. Takes a lot of good lessons learned from those games, as well as like a lot of good aspects from Humankind while solving a lot of that game's problems as well.